Hello everybody. In this video we are going to continue working with our login page. As you can see, I had it open. I did a couple of changes just to make it a little bit appealing. Those changes are just for show purposes. You can have those if you want, or you can add whatever you need to put in there. I actually encourage you to put whatever you want to do. What I just did, really simple. You will have access to the code, of course. Instead of having that home page on the left, I have this little image in there. If I go to the login, I just put a little bit more in the middle, change a little about the sizing here and there. Probably actually I can add a little more margin top to that bottom. Sorry. Let's do 8. No, not this one. This one. Let's do 12. Probably too much. 8. Yeah, that look a little bit better. So yeah, just have that right there. Change the colors a little bit. So I log in. It takes me back to the home page, the same way that we saw in the last video. And the second page, I just put a random image that I found on the internet. All those images actually came from on draw.co. They're really cool. They're open source. You can use whatever image you want. The way to use it is you download the SVG or the PNG, whatever you want to use, and then I just put those on my assets folder, change the names in there, and in my home view I just importing the image, sourcing the assets folder, and that's it. Like it actually is really simple. So what I want to do now, I want to actually complete the login section, and I want to use a real authentication. For that, I need to explain a little bit how this actually works. When you log into a system, there are different types of authentication. The most common one is, well, yes, the most common one is the local authentication. Local authentication is a place where you store the username and the password, and you verify that in the database. And if those are correct, you give some kind of token or some kind of cookie or something to the user, right? In order to handle those in a front-end application, of course, like this, you cannot connect this application directly to a database because it makes it vulnerable. You need to put something in the middle. That something in the middle could be a server, a backend server, API, something like that. And we will explain those concepts a little later. But what we need to do is just need to send those instructions to somebody, and could be your own server. This will process those, pretty much go to the database, verify that it's actually working, and then will respond with some kind of token or cookie or validation, something that allow you to continue. So the communication that came from this application is pretty much just send information and receive a response. But this application doesn't connect to a database directly. That's really important. Now, nowadays, having those authentications get a little difficult. You need to have a lot of security in place, and I will show you how to have some kind of basic authentication later during those videos. But for now, let's use a third-party provider, and that's another way to have an authentication. With a third-party provider is allowing to handle the credentials somewhere else. For example, as you saw before, my DigitalOcean account is linked with my GitHub. That means that DigitalOcean doesn't have my credential, GitHub does. So whenever I want to go to DigitalOcean, I need to provide my GitHub credential, and then GitHub says, yes, this guy is Rodolfo, and proceed, allow him to go in. So that's pretty much the step that I want to use, because I want to implement Google authentication in our app. Now, some of you already asked me before, if we handle Google authentication, that means that we cannot use another email password. Yes, we can use that, because actually Google helps us to have password username and password authentication too. And it's actually really neat. So for that, let's actually get started. Let me make this a little bit bigger, because whoa, okay. Sorry, I cannot see that. Let me go to my form. And let's do max. Actually, it should be here. mass width of, I don't know, medium size, probably. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, a lot better. Sorry for that. Okay, so let's actually go to Firebase, and that's the way that we are going to be using that application. So it's as simple to go into firebase.google.com, and this actually gives you a bunch of information and it gives you a bunch of products that we can use in a web app. This could be pretty much like our server if we want it, right? And we're going to be using a couple of things and doing that, but the most common one is the authentication piece and the database section. So for now, let's actually just use the authentication, and in another video we can use the database section and show you how you can interact with that. But think about Firebase as one of your servers, pretty much. So for that you need to have a Gmail account or authentication. Let me actually log in with my personal account. Let me don't save it here. Sorry for that. Let me just get in with my two-factor authentication. Yes, it's me. Perfect. So now we go to the console, and this is going to be our basic console. You will have empty. I already have a project. There is a test project that we'll show you later. But for now, this is going to be the Firebase project that we need to count. So in order to connect to Firebase, we just need to create a new project. I'm going to give you any name for login example. And it's recommended to put like the name of your project. And it will create like a unique ID. This is the unique ID here. You can actually put whatever you want the unique ID, but more likely it's going to be already taken for something, right? Login example 5. That helps for me. But probably will not work for you. Yep. I will disable analytics. I don't need those for now. I don't want to actually give you all the process about everything that Firebase gave us. I just want to use the login section in this particular video. So let's wait for provisional keys. It's doing something. And our new project is ready. So after we are inside the project, automatically give you like the free tiers that's pretty neat. We're going to use only that one. And these are pretty much everything that Firebase gave us. As I said before, we are just using the authentication piece. So let me get there. Let me just get started. And there are different ways that we can actually authenticate through the app. I will, for now, enable just the email password. And click save. And that's it. With that, we just have a Google authentication already typed up. We need to add like a domain. That's really important. And what we need to be doing here is going to be something like, by default localhost is already there, so for developer purposes, but I will recommend you add your domain that you have in the option too, because later we're going to add this to there. Let's put Rodolfo Roman for now. There you go. Okay, now that we have that, we need to go to the project overview. We already enabled authentication. Now we need to enable the codes that we need to use to connect to here. And don't worry, sounds complicated, but it is not. So here in the project overview, after we just enable authentication, we can actually get started. I can add an iOS app, an Android, or a web application. In this case, we're going to select web. Let's give it a name. I will keep the same name, login example. And I will register the app. I will not select the Firebase hosting. And I will use this information. Now, this information is really important. You need to keep it safe, nowhere else. And of course, this is going to be public when you somehow put your application on the web. but for security purpose, this information needs to be hidden in GitHub. So that's going to be really important. For now, don't worry about mine. I will change those later, but it's something that we need to get along. So let me just continue those. And when I add it, I can see they have one app right here. Login example. If I click that little setup icon, I can go to, I believe right here, there you go. Change from CDN to configuration. And it's going to be my Firebase configuration that I need to handle. So I will just copy all this. Let me send this to the right, and I will create a new folder inside the source. So I will create a file. Let's call this config. Oh, sorry, config folder, and I will create a file called Firebase.javascript. And I need to type Firebase correctly. Firebase.javascript. So I create my folder config and my Firebase. What I need to do is pretty much copy all this, paste it here, save it, and for now we will actually export this section. I will export that configuration. Now, before I proceed, it's going to be really important before you actually commit something. I need to go to my git ignore file, and we have a git ignore right here. This file lists, as I mentioned before, lists everything that needs to be ignored. Doesn't need to be sent to GitHub, or doesn't need to keep track of that. And that way we will not be sending all those secret keys in a GitHub repository. So what I want to do here is add everything that is in source /config. I save that, and you can see that Visual Studio Code automatically created it out. That means it's already getting out from the Git repository, and that's pretty much what I needed. So if I do a git status, I have a modified files there that I didn't commit yet. I have my asset directory that I need to add, right? But that configuration file is not there. Really. So let me actually put all those in, and let me just put a message. Added Firebase config, and let me commit it. There you go. So now it's committed, and I have my configuration put there. Perfect. Now in order to use the authentication piece, it's going to be really simple. We're going to use another helper documentation. But for now, let me just go to the authentication piece. Here we can see there's sign-in methods. What we have the user. We can add a user manually, or we can have another one, or we can put it through the application. But let me actually click here, get started. Let me go to the authentication piece, and let me go to the web, and let me handle email password authentication, this one. So we just did that. We enabled the configuration, and now we just need to start adding this hub. We just need to import Firebase in the computer in our project, and then we just call the authorization method to create user with email and password, and we proceed to doing that. And this is, as you can see before, an asynchronous call. That means that after it's done, we're going to do something, and we return actually the user that we need. And we can handle this kind of information, and it's pretty much straightforward. It's not actually not that complicated, but because we have view on top of this, that means that we can actually do something different, and we can use somebody else library. That's actually really good. So I recently found this guy, and Anthony Fu, I believe his name is, and he has something called view use, and view use a collection of essential view composition utilities. So remember that we have been typing or creating our use application, like use this, use that, use something else, things like that. Well, this guy just create like a basic authentication, have a lot of demos, they're pretty cool. And it have a bunch of works with V3 is what we need. And we have a lot of things already created. So for example, we can use something like, let's get the basic one. Yeah, it's the basic one. I didn't find anything, right? Use clipboard. So this will pretty much handle the clipboard really simple for us with just a simple function. This function, in order to create it, in order to handle it, if we go to the source, we just need to type all this information. That is not that bad. We're using the navigator, right? And from the navigator, we're using the clipboard functionality. And we need to learn a little bit about APIs and how the browsers works, right? And it's not that big, but instead of typing all this for us, he just already wrapped it in a function called use clipboard. And it already give the text, what it copied, and if it's supported or not. So we have everything that we need. Something pretty neat that he also already created, some integrations. And this integration he already has Firebase, and he just use authorization. So with a simple use authorization, we can actually just call the sign in, and we are going to get the user right away. Ready? Right? So in order to use this, using this add-on, we just need to install pretty much this one. So we're going to copy this. We're going to go to our project. We're going to paste it, enter. This will install Visual Firebase, that's going to be this helpers functionality, and the Firebase itself in order to use the authentication piece. So for now, it's everything we need. Let's create a new helper function. Well, we already have the use out. Let's actually, as you can see here, I call this is authenticated because he provided is authenticated from the user out, and that's actually pretty neat. So for now, let's import and I will keep this. Let's import Firebase from Firebase, and let's import use authorization. And he have a typo, it's not from here, it's actually from you use Firebase. Pretty much. We can remove this one for now. And we're going to do authorization from Firebase. And then we are not going to use the Google provider for now. So we can actually delete this, and we can use which one it could be. And we don't need a provider actually, so we can actually get rid of this line. We're just going to use this section from here. We're going to send the email and the password. So for reference, let's have, and we need to have some kind of configuration here probably. Application, introduction, getting started with Firebase, add Firebase to an app, to the web. We just install it and we register it. We need to import Firebase from Firebase app. Actually, let's use this one, going to be a lot better. let's import just the authentication piece. So let's do like this. Firebase, from Firebase, I have Firebase authorization from here. This one can be right here. um, we already have our Firebase configuration, and we just need to initialize something like this. So let's actually import from, as you remember, we have our config file, and that one is on configuration Firebase. There you go. It's going to import, it's called Firebase config, and we're going to initialize it out as a Firebase configuration. Perfect. As simple as that. Now we need a place to save our username and password. So export const user name equal zoom. So let's keep it more consistently. Okay, after we have that, we have authorization from Firebase. Yeah. What else we can do? Let me think. We import that, we export, we pretty much probably we can export this, and we use this somewhere else for now, and we're not using this one for now, so let's keep it a little simpler. Let's change this file to actually be renamed to use Firebase. Okay, for now. Will that import from use Firebase? Yes. There you go. What it says here is you want to change this one from automatically from use house to use Firebase because I changed the name. I said that it was okay, and it should be doing it on the navbar too, I believe. Yeah, there you go. It did it on both sides. Pretty neat, right? Oh, and the router, because router we're checking is that it's authenticated. So we need to change this later, but for now we can use something like this. Let me think what else we need to do. And probably need to start working in some kind of script for this kind of videos. So let me see where we are. Everything is crashing because that one is not working yet. So let's see how we can actually do it. We can have the sign in as an authentication. Yeah, probably. So we don't need to export the authentication, the authorization piece. We just export this one. It's going to be export the signing function. That's going to use authorization dot, and let's call it sign it with credentials, with email and password, and that we can actually see it right here. Oops. Authentication, where is it? Web password. Sign in with email and password, and we need to send the email and we need to send password. Perfect. And for this one, we need to send here email, password, and of course here we need to send those email, password. Right. That's pretty much. So we have a function sign in. We have two parameters, and that parameter we will try to do the authentication piece for from this one. Perfect. And we can actually, yeah, let's use this. I don't know why we remove it. So let me import from you use oops you use Firebase, and we're going to import use authentication. It's the only piece that we need right now. We are going to export these two elements. Export is authenticated and the user from use Firebase, right? And let's have this one as a sign in, and probably we can have something else similar as this one, sign up. So we have the sign in here, and we can actually have the sign up right here, and will be create user with email and password. Okay, I think this should be enough. And let's actually change this the way that we had it before. We call it how use out. And let's do the refactoring. Yeah, so we save this one. We save this one. We have here, let me minimize this, it's just too much, too crowded right now. We know that we have it on the login page, and we know that we had it on the nav part too. Cool. So just with that, somehow the application should be working. There you go. Look at the login, have this one, and yeah. Okay, our application is working somehow. Now we need to tie up the different elements. So what I'm going to be doing now, I will create a manual user. I will add a user because put my name. I will create something fake email, and I will put a simple password, right? And that user ID is already there, so you can see I added through the console. And now what I need to do here, I need to tie it up this one and this one to be set that whenever I do the login. Right? So let's go to the login view. We have it authenticated, but we need to have now import ref from view, because we are going to create email equal reference on empty string and const password reference empty string. We can have those, and we can do in our input for the username we do a vmodel username, actually email. Let's change this one, the label, from username to email. And for the input for the password, we use a vmodel password. And now that we have those, we can actually do, whenever we click login, we do the login section, and the login should be this one right here. So we need to import our sign-in method. Perfect. And we use this is going to be asynchronous. We do a try catch. This one is not needed anymore. So we want to do something, and that one will be I wait, sign in, and we want to send the email and the password. After I wait, we want to set that to the row. If something we have an issue, let's do a simple console log the error, and let's keep it simple like that. Eventually, so we have something. Click here. Let's inspect. Let's go to the console. Hopefully everything is working. Login. Must be a valid string, so we have an issue. There is nothing there. Let's do whatever at something.com. Anything there. If I type it, I will not save it. Oh, wait. Email value. Sorry for that. We are handling reactive component value. The email is valid formatted. Perfect. Let's do whatever something. Fake email. There is no user record corresponding to this identifier. The user might have been deleted or something. Perfect. And if we do the email that we actually created there, fake.com password, and try to log in. There you go. Now I'm logging into the application. And how that's actually possible? Well, you can actually see it right here. We go to see or view app. And let me see if we can actually get it somewhere. This authenticator is true. This came from the user application. Print it, right? And root review, home. That's it. We are not using the user anywhere. So something really cool that we can use now. Let's actually go to the home page. And let me create something, a paragraph here. I will send the user information. So just remember, we have the user information for the user authentication. So I can actually do import. Actually first need to be script set up. No. And I need to import from helpers use out. Oops. Oh, yeah. Sorry. And we need to import the user. So now we can actually see what the user information is right there. And let me just wrap everything like this. Let me this little ugly margin top of 80 because I don't know why I have it there but it's working for now. I'll put it right there. And this one here, and these two guys go inside. Let me get rid of this. Actually, let's remove from 80 to 8. We have the user information. So let me log out from here. And we need to do it in a specific way. Log out. And probably can use we created next steps. Sign out. Okay, let's actually call this. Let's go to use authentication, to sign in, sign up, and export const sign out. It's going to be a function that doesn't need anything, that we just call the authentication is dot sign out. There you go. So let's go to the navbar. Because in navbar we have that the logout section. Let's create this as an async function, and let's change this to we need to import it. Sign out. And we don't need this one anymore. Actually, yes, we need it. Sorry. So we just do a wait. Sign out. Oh. So we can log out. When we are not in the app, the user account is empty, doesn't exist, until we'll take actual user. That user is actually right there. So we have pretty much a bunch of information there. Redirect event, something, we have the email, we have the display name. This one is now, right? We have phone number, we have a bunch of stuff, but we have the user information that we can actually handle. It's pretty. So, because we can actually use that, let's change this object. This is on the login page. The login doesn't need this one anymore. Sorry, on the home page. So instead of printing the user, let's actually print user.email. There you go. So we can do something as simple as welcome user email or new user. If I log out, no, didn't like it. What we can do here? Probably something like this. Let me check. No. Why didn't like it? Promise I can access property email because user is null. Oh, yeah, I need to verify first if the user exists. Probably. Let me refresh this. Welcome the user, perfect. And after I log in, let me take the fake one. Welcome rule. Here you go. So we can actually handle the user information, something like this. Let's make this a little bit appealing. Let's make text Excel, through Excel, MX auto, text center, margin 8. So, tracking wider, probably. Font 10. There you go. And let's increase this one to 16 just because. So if we don't have anything, it's welcome new user. If we log in, we have an issue, doesn't show anything. Sorry, let me just put the fake one. That's it. So now that we are authenticated, we can actually go to the secret page and we can render it. If we are logged out, and we'll try to go to the secret page, it sends us to login because we are not authenticated to the page. So with that, I will say simple enough. I don't know how long I've been recording this, probably for around 4 minutes, so it's not that short actually. But we were able just to add a simple login with users that we created through the authentication form. So for now, I will require for this assignment to create a new page. You need to have I will share this code with you, and I need you to create a new page or just a new button if you want it with the sign up. If you don't have an account, just sign up. If not, if you had it, just log in. Remember, and this is going to be really easy because you already have the sign up implementation. You just need to call it and assign it to a button. But I want to see how you actually do it. So let's create a new page, or let's just create a new button, whatever you want to put in there. Let's handle the create a username with email and password, and let's see how it goes. For now, this is everything for today. Maybe before I forget, added login with email, password, and let me push it to have it right where it's supposed to be. So for now, this is everything for today. I hope that you like it. I will need your GitHub repo. Remember adding the sign up functionality. Remember to just to bring your and remember to hide your Firebase configuration. That's really important. Other than that, I hope that you like it. Any question, any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.